Well, take two. Hello, everybody. Well, and hello to all the people on YouTube and our IGC family. We're here for real this time with our regularly scheduled episode of Masks and New Generation, our superhero campaign here at IGC, where we try not to kill our child heroes. Let's do this. So, I don't normally do episode titles up front. Usually we work them out in post, but I actually have one for this week that I've already decided on. So this is episode 12, 13, wherever we're at, where the wild things are. Okay, so we left off last I remember. You guys had been talking about breaking into one of your adversary secret labs, but you decided to give it the night to mull over it, make your decisions. Emily had some family issues to sort out, and we'll pick back up that morning with dawn light breaking, all of you sort of getting up from your slumber. Emily, in particular, you've felt like you've probably had better sleep on the bus to volleyball games before than you did tonight, sleeping on the lab floor.
Oh, definitely.
But you guys are picking yourselves up and looking to get some stuff done today. So who is going to start us off with your preparations here?
I'm trying to remember the resistance chemical that we'd kind of come up with in the last episode. Were we able to determine if that was going to be like long lasting or if that would be like something to consume like right before we go to confront Young?
All right, so that's definitely more of a short term versus long term type of thing.
Okay, so we shouldn't just drink that right now. We should save it for when we know we're going to face him.
Right, so it's basically like you made an opposite version of what he was trying to put in the water supply. And the cool thing about that was it being in the water, everyone was like continually drinking it, so they were re-exposing themselves to it.
So this is just a short burst.
Yeah.
Good to know. So we will save that for later.
And I think it will be worth maybe repeating that you have enough to reasonably dose like most of your core team here, give or take. Muscle Sheep's kind of big, but definitely not like your extended team with all of your allies and other units.
That's also good to know.
Well, Muscle Sheep, you wake up in your park dwelling and have a feeling that today is definitely going to be a serious kind of day. Muscle Fox's words ringing in your head that time was running short.
He's going to stand there stoically, looking in the distance. Says, "It is time to become a muscle man? No, that doesn't sound right. Man sheep? Sheep man? Sheep man. It is time to become squirrel!"
Roll me, what's the assess? Is it superior? Roll me a superior check.
This can only end well. Welcome back.
I didn't
Okay.
hear anything after squirrel. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry. Me either.
But I rolled a 4
Yeah.
Did
on
did
my.
you did you hear my you would have seen something but were blinded by
No.
squirrel?
No.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, so you just noticed your squirrel. You did not see the secret thing, but there was definitely a squirrel you chased.
But did I get the squirrel?
Getting the squirrel has been an endless battle for you, probably because you don't realize there's more than one squirrel.
He's like, I will get that squirrel.
It goes around behind one tree, and then you spot it coming out from around another tree.
And it just continues to taunt you.
He probably thinks the squirrel has a superpower and it can multiply itself, but he doesn't understand it is actually more than one squirrel.
Okay, well, other than so what else did I miss? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you guys.
You just missed Jalem going, so should I get him or? And then
I-
Void said, you have the whistle. Like, oh, right. Might as well. And she would have just like taken the whistle and just blown on it really, really hard. To the point where probably other dogs would come running.
It's early morning in the park. There probably are people out for walks, and definitely there is a sudden commotion as many of them try to break their leashes. Muscle Sheep, you also hear this summons, and also Muscle Fox appears and salutes you, Jalem.
Like, huh. Wow. Good morning. So, we ready to go?
Go on walkies.
And then you'll, alright, where's Highlight?
I don't know, where is Highlight this morning?
He has rejoined the living. Well, I have rejoined the living. I imagine everyone told me to meet there, so I would. Not wearing stunner shades, but he looking haggard-ish, tired, so he's kind of grumpy, and he has coffee in his hand,
Okay, nice.
of course.
That's an interesting thought. How did you go out this morning? Are you disguised? Are you in casual wear?
He's disguised in the sense that he put like zero effort into going out. So he just looks uncharacteristically. He does not look like himself because he did not put any effort into how he looked when he went out.
Hiding
So
in-
frumpy. Yes, hiding in plain sight. When he puts no effort in is when people don't know it's him.
Very fair. All right.
I mean,
So-
to be fair, if you went out like 5 a.m. or before, no one would really care.
No one would be out.
Getting back to our drunk teenagers in the Denny's parking lot argument.
Alrighty. Yeah, down below in the lab, you're waking up feeling sore, Emily, when probably Neri stands and tosses a pillow on your face, like hits you with.
Hey, what was that about?
You've gotten enough beauty rest. Any more won't do you any good, honey. We gotta get going.
Fine.
And Void Spawn, where did you? But I don't remember what you did last night.
I'm trying to remember where I wound up. I think the last thing that we covered for Void was working on the. Well, technically, it wasn't the last thing we did, but it was the last thing in chronological order that he finished up working on the chemical. So I'm not sure where he actually wound up.
Might have spent the night working on the ship.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, as you're probably stirring first thing this morning on the ship, you hear, even from within your protected walls, the shrill sound of the whistle.
I'll transform into a dog and go running.
It's the strangest thing, Jalem. As your buddy Highlight starts to make his way over to you, you've got a lot of dogs around you, including Muscle Sheep and Muscle Fox and a weird kind of gray one that looks really intelligently expectant up at.
And like,
I think we lost you.
I did not hear that.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just call it, hey, Highlight, come over here real quick.
What is it?
And she tosses him some of the leashes. Specifically the Muscles leashes. Okay, you two, go for walkies.
I feel like I'm just gonna develop so much upper body strength from this.
I imagine that instead of the normal walkies, today we're like patrolling.
Right.
Like Muscle Sheep and Muscle Fox are just like patrolling, like very deliberately, instead of just like, tugging at the leash like we normally do.
Oh, they're very behaved.
Muscle Fox is totally doing that kendo like practice sword slash thing with like an invisible sword he's not holding.
So he's just like repeating the motion.
Yeah, totally.
Void just watches them walk off and shifts back into his human form and mumbles, I never get to go for walkies.
And then like, wait a minute. You wanted to... Then she stops. She thinks. Hey, Titania, come on here.
Oh god.
Arising from the den that was the lab down there, a very bushy haired, scraggly looking Titania arises.
Void. Dog form.
I'll shift back into a dog.
So kind of dog.
The leash to Titania. Here, this is Void, and he needs to... And then she turns to the rest of the dogs, like, okay, just follow me. Thinking, where are her dogs?
I'd imagine probably they've been. If you kept them all still, remember they weren't
Yeah.
yours to begin with.
She kept.
But I'm sure they've been around the park and stuff since you probably vacated Emily's house the other night.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bemused Titania kind of will take you for a half lap, Void. Make some subtle conversation, but this is kind of weird for her. Even for her, as much as she's normally kind of gung ho for this kind of.
And of course, I'm just like talking back in my regular voice, so people around are also super weirded out.
Oh, you scar a couple of children, to be sure.
Actually, no, I would talk like Scooby-Doo instead. Just put R's in places they don't belong, just because I saw it on a cartoon once.
Oh no. So, assuming you guys don't make the news tonight for doing something stupid that will be on the news, a story about Scooby-Doo invading Central Park.
Oh God.
Alright, but shenanigans aside, you guys will eventually be able to kind of assemble back together. Some happier than others, some more haggard than others, but as you guys come back together, what's your plan of action? How are you going to get things started here?
Hmm.
I forget where we did learn where his tower was, right? Or her. I forget if it's him or her.
Yeah, Echidna's tower is supposedly not too far from where you first met Miro.
All right, that was the one in the sewers,
Hmm.
or underground at least.
And sort of at that, actually, Miro will kind of push himself up from the wall. He's also looking kind of haggard, like Titania. The bags that are usually under his eyes are a bit darker today. But he'll say, I've been thinking about that void, and I think I might have an idea about where it might be.
Well, continue.
Did you think it a bit weird that the place I found to live in happened to be like this bulkhead secure facility in the sewers that led up to an apartment building?
I mean, at the time, yes, but in light of some of the other facilities we've found recently, it's not that surprising.
Right. So I didn't make it. I found it that way. Some little side thing out of the apartment building led down into this weird little room that was full of kennels. And I cleared out the kennels and made my little bungalow there. At the time, I just thought someone had like a puppy farm or something, but after you told me what your friend said, I wonder now if that wasn't what was going on.
Well, kennels would certainly seem to fit with what we know about Dr. Echidna.
Well, if that was one of her little holding facilities, then maybe there'll be other ones down that part way of the sewer.
If so, we also have some idea of what to look for. They probably would have similar entrances.
I can definitely take you down there. Can't promise you if I'll find it right away, but I can lead the way.
And just look to the others. Well, help would certainly be appreciated. Are we ready to go?
I don't know. Are you done with your walk?
I feel limbered up.
Yes,
Cool.
Muscle Sheep is ready.
All right. And then she'll just like, pull out her whistle, give like another like toot to like dismiss the dogs. Like, all right, go home.
Dr. Doom toots as he pleases. Alright, you are able to dismiss the dogs. Just to be clear, all of your party is good and ready to go ahead and take on Echidna, correct?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we know it is a suicide. We know it is a suicide mission.
Neri will pipe up if the conversation kind of rotates onto her, as she'll say, I'd actually like to sit this one out if it's alright with y'all. I'd rather work on preparing for when we take on Belladonna than waste time on one of the other directors.
All right. Just call us if things go to hell.
I don't think it'll be a big deal. I'm gonna spend most of today. I'm kind of low on juice, so I need to make some more.
Juice?
My medicine, Jalim, and she just kind of like eyes you narrowly.
Right. Alright, sorry about that. I had a bit of a brain fart. Carry on. And she'll just walk away quickly. Like, I totally didn't fuck that up. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up.
Nice. But other than that, you all can start making your way there. You have a good entrance point with the Marrow's old bungalow.
Alright, so. Who's going in first?
The toughest should.
What?
And I look at the muscles. The toughest should.
Okay, between the two Sheep and Fox, who's stronger?
Both of us raise our hand at the same time.
Right, while looking at each other.
Then you get like that little anime line between their eyes and the little spark.
Okay, prove to see who can get through the door first.
I'm gonna quickly step out of the way.
Pretend it's a car.
God.
I
Does he
imagine.
say-
Where exactly are we?
Probably by this point y'all got to like that abandoned apartment building.
So, is this like a residential district?
It's kind of residential, kind of a little bit of like a work, but mostly importantly, it's poor. A lot of like boarded up windows on a lot of people.
Okay. So what I imagine is both Sheep and Fox. This is just in my head, but I imagine that both Sheep and Fox just run to a random door.
Run to or smash through.
We said first one to the door. Or did
Oh.
you say first one to break through?
What did you say, Jalim, specifically?
I said go through the door.
Okay, so definitely smash through.
So this nice apartment built, well, actually rather dilapidated apartment building, used to have a functional front door. It doesn't anymore.
And Julim just turns to the other. See, it's all about knowing what provokes them.
Muscle Sheep across the street. Muscle Fox breaking down the right door.
Well, I seem to remember saying that like the trap door that led down to that secret room like came out like a bookcase. That also probably gets smashed as the muscles kind of vehemently make their way forward. But you're all eventually able to work your way down into the room. It's not very big, so with this kind of party size, it's starting to get a little cramped in there. It's about how you left it, or how you remember it being left. With one significant exception, there's a perfect copy of Marrow sitting on the bed, looking at you guys file down.
That's not creepy.
Is the actual Marrow with us?
Yeah, and he's like doing the Catholic cross going on.
So, Marrow, when were you gonna tell us you had a creepy brother that and doesn't know how to blink, apparently?
Void is going to do that head tilt thing that he always sees the observer doing and see if he gets a response.
As you do that, Observer who you take to be observer, cocks his head also, not quite as far as you do, but he smiles gently and he says, I believe we had unfinished business left to discuss, Voidspawn.
Calling in repayment so soon?
What can I say? Things move rather quickly in this city now, do they not?
Recently, definitely.
Yes, well, these are for our ears only, I'm afraid. So, your companions, and he will gesture smoothly to the door leading out. If you would continue on, I believe you will find Echidna's lab down and to the right.
Okay. Alright, come on, you two. More stuff to break. And however you like to prefer it.
I imagine we're both kind of like trying to fit through the door at the same time.
Break it if you have to.
But Muscle Sheep, being the quote unquote superior specimen, slips his way in first.
So something humorous happens because it's a bulkhead. So you guys like push really hard to get through, and it's just not going anywhere. And someone has to like reach between you guys and unscrew the door. You will eventually file out, and probably the two of you like move like you were pushing so hard when the door flies open, you like fly out and splash into the wall.
Now he needs a trip to the groomers.
I did not know that sharpening our swords required aquatic training, brother.
You do not have sword.
You do not use your mind, brother.
Yes, hello, I am Sheep.
Alright, but you guys will make your way out there. It's dark and dingy and damp, and about what you remember, especially any of you who have been down here before.
I think Highlight was the only one that actually came down with me the one time.
Was it me?
I think so.
I think you were here once, Highlight.
Oh right, yeah,
When we
it
went
was
off
me.
to retrieve Titania.
Yeah,
But I take it everyone leaves Voidspawn and his friend to their private.
Well, Jillian will stop and say, you're gonna come follow us, right? Like she sticks her head back through the door.
That is my intention.
Alright.
Yes, I would not keep your friend from his obligations. I merely wish to discuss something with him.
Alright. And then she'll head out. Don't keep him too long.
No, I don't think it will take but a moment.
Then Jillian will leave.
Door closes, panel would move on and show you guys kind of meandering your way down the sewer. Marrow leads you deeper and deeper in. The lights that are sporadically on the wall become less and less frequent, and shadows start to get deeper on the ground. But you're making your way into the heart of, or the underbelly at least, of Halcyon City. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is it like dank down here?
Yeah, definitely. This does not really tick any of your boxes for a good hideout spot. Highlight.
That's what I thought. I had a feeling. Just like snap my fingers so at least there's a little light that trails behind me. or around me, whatever.
Yeah, all good. You can totally do that, which is helpful because the pathway starts to get a little bit more irregular as you guys get down here, and it would be a bit easier to trip and take a very smelly bath if you weren't careful.
I don't think anyone wants to do that.
I don't know. Muscle Sheep can end up smelling better.
Oh,
Hmm.
as
Slash out.
press X. But the manga, sorry, the panel would show you guys moving further down, then it would come back up to highlight in the or sorry, not highlight, void spawn in the room with this clone of Marrow looking at. So I take it you guys are already acting on your plans to take out Echidna?
They seem to have the least to lose by having the tower attack, so they probably have the least fortified defenses.
That's not a bad plan at all. I'm surprised that you didn't think to engage Young more expeditiously, given his hold over much of the city.
I felt he would probably expect a direct confrontation, so perhaps a more circuitous route would catch him off guard.
Oh, he definitely did. He's been preparing for you guys to come down for days. If not ever since he let you guys go that one time.
Well, I believe there's only a certain amount of preparing to be done, so whether we take 1 or 2 more days to cross paths with him, I don't believe it will make that much more of a difference.
Perhaps. Your group has been rather resourceful. There might be hope for you yet.
You said you were ready to call in your favor. What was it you needed from me?
You see, once again in a very smooth motion, this Marrow lookalike's fingers come up and steeple and tap as he just looks at you. Boy, sometimes I wish I couldn't read minds. It's so easy to trick people. And that panel would fade to dark as Marrow's eyes glow golden.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
We just activated the trap card.
At least it's not Pot of Greed.
What does Pot
That's
of Greed
illegal.
do?
This card allows me to draw 2 cards.
But wait, there's more. By adding these 2 cards to my deck.
Okay. Down in the sewer, you guys have definitely been meandering for a bit. You've there was a bit of a fade to black, so you've come across a couple of those bulkheads. And like Marrow described, most of them contained empty and probably a little bit grody kennels inside.
This is just disgusting. Does he not think that hygiene is a thing here? Ugh. Honestly. At least clean up your workplace.
As
I
you
imagine
were, oh, sorry.
Sheep's head darting left and right for all these new smells. Just like,
You okay?
so many smells.
Yeah, Muscle Fox will clap a hand on your shoulder, Sheep, and say, "Are any of them familiar, brother? You also spent some time here, I believe."
Muscle Sheep does not remember this place.
Well, consider yourself fortunate. These were not happy boy hours.
Was Sheep a bad boy?
No, Sheeb, I do not believe. I meant that I was not happy. Yeah,
Sheep is sorry for being bad dog.
let's see. Other than the two muscles, and Jalim, you seemed kind of interested in their conversation.
So wait. And like, wait. You two have been here? Like, she's just confused. I heard a dice roll.
All right, so Jalim seems kind of intent on their conversation. The muscles are talking. The rest of you, so Highlight, Emily, and I'll throw Titania in there. If you all could make me superior rolls to assess the situation. Oh goodness.
Ooh, barely.
Well, you all make it though. Highlight, you're the only partial hit, so there's some mitigating things here. Maybe you're distracted by this wonderful bond going on in front of you.
Oh no, yeah, I'm super distracted in my own mind.
Checking your phone, trying to see if you can get service down here.
Worrying about my reputation.
But the two girls, Titania and Emily, you guys will definitely notice from your vantage point in the back of the group, kind of the water beside the path is a lot deeper down here, and you swore you saw a bit of movement.
No bad of that. It's not real keen on finding the swamp monster down here.
Do I
So
notice it?
you got partially distracted, but you would have also caught the glimmer of something to the side of your vision.
Huh. That's weird. Was I the only one who saw that?
No, I saw it too.
Titania kind of like sidles up and then pouts when she can't get through the group entirely to cling to Mero's back.
I'm gonna try to illuminate the water up so it's like, you know how in a pool there are lights at the bottom, so we could just like see if there's anything inside it.
Yeah, I feel you. Okay, you don't really have to unleash your powers to do that. It's not too terribly difficult. What you will need to do, though, is roll me to take a powerful blow.
Oh no.
Because what you're going to see is something lunging at you. As you illuminate the water, something massive launches out of the water, head first in your general direction.
Take a powerful blow. Is that just like the conditions roll?
Yeah, it's 2d6 plus your total conditions. Oh, nice. And that's one that you want to roll low on.
Yeah,
so-
I was like, this is the one where I want to suck, right?
Yeah, you do. So you can mark your potential, and you're going to get to weather the blow, but you can describe to me how you do as I'll explain what it is that attacks you.
So right before it hits me, I panic, and then light forms in front of me as a shield. I'd never done that before though, so this is like the first time I've ever figured out I could do that.
All right. So what the panel would show as you reveal sort of what's underneath this really murky water. You see scales, a long tail, legs. It looks like a crocodile or an alligator type thing. But once you get up to the torso, it suddenly like splits and there's three sort of upper bodies. And these long serpentine necks shoot up out of the water at you, at Emily, the rest of the group. But the faces are not alligator faces. They're big, gaping, wet, soft mouths with long whiskers, like a catfish.
Hello, nightmare.
God, I'm imagining it right now. So it's just like a catfish face person.
Yeah, catfish, alligator, hydra is what it is.
Wow. Okay. Try to shove that off.
But you did, like you said, you brought that shield of light up, which I'm pretty sure this creature is very used to a dark environment, and that will definitely startle it. And that mouth that was going for you does like have to retract back down into the water. But this thing is actively assaulting your group now as it's trying to drag you guys into the water.
Oh no.
Emily, one of those heads was definitely going towards you as well.
She, probably had her boombox off her head so she can see a little bit better down here since it's dark, and she'll just use it as a weapon and just, like, freak out and...
Okay, directly engage a threat for me. Not bad, not bad. Because it's a partial hit, I'm going to say, unless you want to do something different, you'll have to spend your sort of like one benefit you get in order to like not break the boombox, having used it as a weapon.
You said I do get a benefit?
So like I say this, being a partial hit, you would normally get one benefit type thing. I was saying like I'll let you use that one unless you really don't want to like not break your boombox.
Yeah, that makes sense. She would hit it, but not that hard. She needs her boombox.
It's enough, and it's a very soft thump as you just like beam this thing's head, and it whines in this very low, like a blobfish kind of noise, like brrr, and its head also retreats back down into the water. Jillim, the muscles up in front, you guys are also seeing and hearing this monstrosity.
That's gonna be a no from me, Jim. I think we should get going. Now.
You try to sprint it out then?
Well, more like Julem just like yells at them to move. And she tells the other two muscles to also like make a run for it.
Fox looks at his brother and kind of has that steely gaze, seeming like he's going to take your cue for it, Sheep.
Is everyone looking like they're going to run?
From the sounds of it, Emily highlight probably, yeah.
Yeah, let's try to run unless it can catch us.
Like,
all right.
water?
So if
Sorry, you cut out, Richter.
So you said this thing came out of water?
Yeah, so you're walking along the sewer, and I'm basically kind of envisioning like there's a path, and then immediately to the left of the path, filling the rest of the tunnel is just like free flowing water.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead, sheep.
Sorry, brain fart. Muscle Sheep is going to run if everyone else is going to run.
All right, you two, Fox will nod. You'll kind of push Marrow aside a little bit as you guys take off, like going down the pathway, clearing the way forward. The rest of you kind of have to pick yourselves up and try and keep up with these two giant.
Can we hear it following?
Okay, so you guys sprint off. I'm sure there's a bit of flailing and almost slipping on the sidewalk. Maybe I think the last person in the group, Emily, you might feel a slight motion as one of the whiskers brushes your ankle as the third head tried to take a nab at you. But after that, you guys clear it. It is definitely following you, though.
Do we have enough space where we are to reasonably fight it?
Not a ton of space. No, you're on like a single file walkway going down a tunnel with no real turnoff.
Yeah, it might be better to just keep running. I'm going to try and blast it while we're running, just to keep it at bay.
All right, so you want to engage that threat directly?
I guess I do. So it's danger.
Yep. So as you guys are running, Highlight kind of spins and looks back and tries to blast the creature with his abilities. Oh,
Ooh.
nice. So how are you trying to take it down specifically?
Okay, on 10 plus pick 2. Create an opportunity and then to frighten it. Because I noticed that it doesn't like light. So if I feel like if I scare it off, we can at least gain more ground on it.
All right, very fair. You can totally do so. You just try and like flashbang it type of thing.
Yeah, basically.
Cool. So there would be a nice, probably like a spanning 2 pages panel there of you just like medieval painting style, like fighting the Hydra, blasting it with your. The audience would get a good, like I said, clear view of this weird creature with its neck transitioning like very jaggedly from scales to smooth skin, almost like you're kind of like sewn on type of thing. But your effect has all the impact you want it to. This thing screams in that very deep bass note. It kind of flails back in the water, and it's distracted momentarily.
That's all we need. Gotta get out of here.
You guys make your way away, far away from this thing as humanly possible. But before you were able to turn in the L bend to go to another tunnel, if you look back, you will see this thing was stunned and floating sort of in the water, next to an open grate underneath the water line, still revealed with your light abilities. As it's stunned and just kind of flailing, that grate gets kicked out and flies up and hits the ceiling, and a large tentacle comes out from the hole, wraps around one of the heads of this thing, and pulls it in the hole wholesale. It just slurps it into the tunnel.
Oh no.
Concern.
There's a bigger thing down here then.
There might in fact be, but you guys are hauling ass, not sticking around to look at it.
We don't want to find out. I don't want to find out for sure.
Well, it might even be said that a few of Echidna's experiments are free to wander down here, it might seem.
So are they related to Sheeb and Fox? Distant cousins?
Are those your distant cousins, she?
Heck if I know.
You don't see the family resemblance?
Not
That
really. No.
huge tentacle?
Okay, fade to black there. Back up into the room where, sorry, Void Spawn, you come too. Blink away, a bit of gold around your eyes, rub at them. They clear, and you're sitting in the room alone.
Hmm. Do I remember anything that happened after I saw the gold eyes in the Observer?
No, not at all, actually.
Well, in that case, let me check. I'm pretty sure this is a thing I can do. Let me double check real. It is. I'll leave it up to you if this would apply or not. But what I would like to is with the a mind of their own thing, where I can mark a condition to temporarily gain a new ability. I would like to get the memory modification ability and see if I can tap into my own memories to see what I've been blocked out of.
Okay, that would totally apply, and that's a sick use of ability, so I'm gonna allow that.
And I will probably take Insecure as my condition, because that seems very applicable here.
Yeah, I would say so. So, comic would probably depict, you doing your weird shapeshifty thing. You reach up into sort of your head, it becomes liquid as you kind of reach around, and just for me, be like a thematic representation. You can pull out like a reel of film type of thing and try and look in and see what it is that your mind recorded, despite you not being able to access it. You guys will, or the readers in it will see the golden eyes of this Marrow lookalike looking back at you, and sort of choppily he'll smile and start to his whole body glowing gold as it starts to change and grow taller and a bit thinner, and the dark hair becomes brown. And sitting next to you on the bed is that young man that was next to Dr. Young. He was always accompanied by a boy and a girl in his lab.
Okay.
But he's standing or sitting next to you, and he just looks at you, and you're vacant, and you have this vague look in your eyes, and he's just rocking a finger back and forth as he says, "When next we meet, when I snap my fingers, you will listen. I am your friend, not those kids that you call your allies." He gives a few more instructions, generally to that line, and then you sort of nod. He snaps. You sit up straight. He stands, pats you on the head, and leaves the room chuckling.
Would I be able to then I don't know how like the best way to word this is, not like to erase the memories of that, because he basically already did that, but kind of change the programming so that it doesn't work?
It's gonna be a kind of intense little maneuver there. You can attempt it. It's gonna probably take you some time to sort of sort out your own mental state right now. But if that's what you'd like to do, you can try.
Yeah, because I think anything that will
Sorry
catch
about
him
that.
off guard will be worthwhile, and if he thinks he'll be able to control me and doesn't, then whenever he does snap his fingers, we'll be able to get the drop on him. That's my thinking anyway.
Okay, so if you'll roll me an unleash your powers or check.
Okay, big money, no whammies.
Okay, so let me just make sure this is right. Let's see. On a hit, you do it. On a 7 to 9, mark a condition, or the GM will tell you how the effect is unstable or temporary. So that's on you. If you want to mark another condition, you might be able to get it to work right. If not, there might be some DM fiat with that.
To bolster that into a full hit?
So if you mark the condition, then it works without strings attached, essentially.
That is a good point, though. It's a 9. Could I selfishly spend a team? I forget how that works. I'd have to read the thing, but is that a doable?
Yeah, let me look that up real quick. We haven't really done that. Okay. So when you act selfishly, if you say how your actions ignore or insult your teammates, you can spend a team. You can shift your labels up and down. So if you do that and move Freak up 1, that would turn it into a full hit.
Let's be honest, reaching inside your brain and messing around with it is kind of freaky.
It's a valid point. But how does that ignore or insult my teammates? I guess maybe because it's indicative that I may not trust them to be able to handle me if I'm not myself.
Well, and to go with that, I mean, your first reaction wasn't to go to them. You're trying to fix it on your own. That's not really a team player type of move.
It's also true.
All right, so you can we'll spend that team point. I think that puts us at 0 since every session starts at 1. But shift your labels.
Hello?
Hello? Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry about that. I am constantly getting pulled away. But in regards that's
Sorry, in regards to what?
You cut out.
I hate my headset. I said like because I have the captain ability, when we enter battle, I get to add 1 team to the pool.
Okay, that'll be useful when you get to battle.
But I mean, so if you want, you can use like team selfishly in this case.
That makes me out of character a little less worried about doing that then.
Yeah, I think it's totally applicable.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what to shift in the meantime. Maybe I'll bump Savior down 1 and Freak up.
Sounds good.
Actually, I think I'll do Superior because it made me as with the insecurity thing from before, so that seems a little more accurate.
Okay, cool. So you bump Freak up 1, that raises your bonus to a +2, which turns that into a full. So, like I said, you'll have to spend some time doing it. Your friends will they'll definitely leave you behind a bit as you'll sit here and kind of just modify your memory for the next 10-15 minutes. But you think you've done a pretty decent job of unhypnotizing yourself, so to speak.
Did I see what happened to his assistant? Whether they just like left back up the bookcase entrance, or if they went back into the sewers?
They went back up the bookcase.
Okay, that's a bit of a relief, at least. So I would not feel an urgent need to go chasing after my teammates instead of finishing this.
Fair, very true. And I've since we're doing a bit of bookkeeping, and I recognize that I probably haven't done this as much as the system intends. Highlight. I'm going to shift your labels if you're willing.
Okay, to what?
Since you kind of engaged that monster and kind of stood in for your friends there, I think you could take a +1 to savior.
What would I have to put down?
Maybe mundane or maybe not freak because you did use your powers to do it. I would say either mundane or maybe Dane.
Mundane. He's not good at being a person.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to, you can shift those labels because of your heroic actions there.
Sure, I'll take it.
That's a bit out of character for Highlight typically. He's not really the jump into action kind of guy usually.
He's not. Mm-mm.
Not without setting up a camera first, at least.
Who knew that when there's no one watching, now he has to figure out how to do it on his own?
Oh god, so Highlight's the person who likes being watched?
Okay,
That's the whole point, yeah.
Oh, slash whoosh.
Okay. So you will have to spend some time unhypnotizing yourself, Void. But after that, you are free to come back down and chase after them, or I don't know. You gonna try and chase after the assistant? What's your intent?
I think it's probably best to play like I'm still hypnotized and don't know that anything happened. So I'm not going to go chasing after the assistant. I'm going to try to catch up with my friends. I'll probably, since I have only the vaguest idea of direction of where they went, try to contact them on the cell phone and do the GPS thing if it'll work in the sewers.
Okay, so we'll turn attention back to the rest of you. You've turned a couple of bends here. You're still probably running pretty full tilt, given what you saw, and you know you're really disappointed, Highlight, because you've had really bad service down here thus far. But maybe you get a very scrabbled group text message of a void spawn.
What would it say?
If I were Highlight, it would say ASL, but I'm not. So it'll just
I
say.
would not text that. Who does that now?
Other than as a meme, probably nobody. But yeah, it would probably just say what direction did you head?
So what you actually received was WH capital A with a umlaut over it, T, and then just lots of garbled text type of thing.
We're not being chased anymore, right? We're catching our breath.
You can be, yeah. You don't seem there doesn't seem to be anything actively chasing you this second.
For now.
I'll just lean over and show Emily it. Because it's a weird text.
You think I can read this? I don't speak alien.
No, I don't know what to do with it.
She'll take it and reply back with just
With
that's
what?
it. That's her reply.
Oh, just question marks.
Which to me probably comes off as like the upside down question marks and maybe some exclamation points or the other punctuation.
That's what you get in return.
Oh,
the
God.
heart.
Oh God.
Did you guys break highlight or something? What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
I find that hard to believe.
Void sending weird texts.
Weirder than normal.
Weird for him.
Uh-huh.
Up at the front, Muscle Sheep, your brother kind of is sniffing the air and he just says, "She's close. I believe it is finally time for our swords to be drawn, brother."
I see. In that case, wait a minute. I don't have a sword.
He means
You don't have a sword.
Sheep, he means to get ready to punch.
You can't punch things with a sword.
Yes, you can.
Fox will just kind of...
Sheep.exe has stopped working.
Oh. Yeah, Fox will just shake his head and kind of slowly start to pace ahead, just still sniffing.
Anyways, let's get going.
The assistant / the observer had said to the group as they were leaving that it was like off to the right, correct?
Indeed, he did.
So I'd probably just start heading that way and try one more time with the text message and just say very simply GPS on ?
I'd say that mostly gets through. It's maybe an exclamation point instead of a question mark, or yeah, it's that upside down Spanish question mark, but it gets through.
I don't think I would have turned it off.
What's going on now?
Because Void's trying to follow us, right?
Right.
Indeed.
That's the whole point. I think he's asking if my GPS is on so he can track us.
Yeah, like even if you still had it on, just to double check that you did, probably.
Is it on?
When I double check, what do I find?
It's on. It's a weak connection.
I'll just text back. I'll just text back YE.
Okay, you get back like the conjoined AE character E. So A.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey. I guess I'm assuming probably I'm not getting a pickup from their signal because it's the sewers.
You get like the occasional blip type of thing, maybe to help you know to turn right here, and it's not like exactly a maze down here, so it's somewhat helpful.
I'll try to do that then and just move quickly to try to catch back up with them. And if need be, I am prepared to potentially break my phone to use the alien tech thing to try to get a stronger signal.
Okay. Thankfully you don't feel like you're gonna have to maybe do that much because time bending a bit here as the comic just shows you moving ahead after them. You get about a couple panels of checking your phone, ducking down this tall hallway and that, before you'll reach a point where the water is like lapping up over the side of the tunnel. And if you just look, there's just like a puddle of dark red and purple liquid just floating in the water. And a grate floating in the middle of that.
That was the last time that I saw a signal around here.
Yeah.
I guess worriedly I'd just call out, are any of you still alive?
I'd actually say probably there's a decent echo down here. Y'all are a bit further away from that, but especially she, you'll probably hear that for the most part.
Except you hear it as, do any of you speak jive?
Speak
You-
what now?
That's an airplane reference. That's a deep cut.
Right?
Hmm.
I understood the reference.
I didn't.
But yeah, you Missile Sheep will probably pick up some of that echo from good ways behind you as you hear him ask that. But something else hears you asked that as the water makes a grumbling sound that disconcerts you.
Yeah, it's not a comfortable feeling. I'll, assuming that I don't immediately hear any call back from anybody else, just kind of brace myself to potentially be attacked by whatever made that puddle of what I'm assuming is blood in the water.
Certainly seems like it. But Sheeb, do you do anything to alert your group to the sounds you're hearing?
Oh, I'm the only one that can hear it?
Yeah, for the most part, with your super ears.
Okay. I would imagine his ears perk up and he starts looking in the direction of the noise. And he's making like that kind of huffing, kind of barf that dogs do. It's just kind of like,
Huh?
something is there.
Titania reaches up and like kind of pats your shoulder blade about as good as she can reach, and she just says like, "Do you need to take a break, Sheep? You need to go around the corner."
No. Something is there. You don't hear it?
Well, if he says something's there, and Jillian will pull out her pistol and load it.
Fucking
Whoa. That
Everybody get ready.
escalated quickly.
What? She's not taking chances. Everybody
I
get
just
ready.
I just like to imagine though that that's her like go-to for just about anything though.
If it's annoying her, pull out the pistol.
God, this pickle jar just won't open. Clock.
Bam, bam, bam.
Everyone open? Bang. There's like a stain she can't get out? Bang. There's someone who won't stop talking? Silencer. Bang.
I'd also like to remind everyone at this point that this is someone that goes to school with Emily.
Yep.
Yeah, to this rich prep school.
What is
Got a
that?
B on a
Every day.
test. Bang.
Wait, what was that?
Nothing.
Got a B on a test. Bang.
I'm just gonna put this here.
Yes. Anyways, moving on.
God, my cheeks hurt. Okay, well, you guys will maybe start to try and make it known to Void Spawn that you guys are further down the tunnel, and you'll probably hear at least gun noises. Apparently,
Like, she's only loading it. She's not gonna fire it yet.
but you will hear that Void Spawn as the gurgling also grows a bit more. Well, you're not sure if it's angry or if that's indigestion.
Same.
It's hangry.
Blobfish hydras don't go down well, apparently.
Should have eaten a Snickers.
Why are we like this?
Not sponsored.
Why are we like what?
Okay. I'm assuming you'll follow after the sound of my hopes and dreams shattering.
Yes, although I will definitely be initially walking backwards, keeping an eye on the blood.
Okay, so you'll probably notice then as a long let's see, what's the color bands of a coral snake? Is it like red, black, and yellow?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Coral snake is the deadly one, so red next to yellow.
Okay, but it's a tentacle with colored bands like that
Oh,
that reaches out of the hole, grabs the grate, and kind of fixes it back in place.
it just wants to be left alone. Dang it!
That feeling when your roommate doesn't close the door.
God damn it, Jim, I'm trying to get some privacy here.
I'm so sorry, Ren.
Well, as you guys move forward, the first one who probably will see you approach the group Void Spawn is probably Titania, although I was wondering if Emily would try to fight her for that honor.
Emily's not needy.
Yeah, true. It's hard to be needier than Titania.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Oh my.
So, yeah, she's definitely the first one that sees you, and another loud noise rings through and echoes through the tunnel as Titania flings herself at you and sort of like welcomes you back.
Accept the welcome kind of awkwardly and just say, so, interesting news. Turns out that was not my associate, and rather an associate of Dr. Young.
Okay.
Fox will look at you concerned and say, "Did you need my sword back there, young man?"
No, I was able to handle matters. The good news is that I was able to figure out that he had tried to hypnotize me to turn against you when we next encounter him, but I believe I was able to successfully undo the hypnosis.
Only believe so?
Well, I cannot say for certain until the time comes, but the hypothesis is sound.
No, his hypnosis. Somehow.
I think we missed the beginning of that.
So you're
Or at
saying
least
you overrode it?
I believe so, or at least removed enough of it that it should no longer function as intended. It presents an interesting tactical opportunity, though, that he is unaware of this, and when he expects me to turn against you, I will not. It could give us an opportunity to turn the tables when that opportunity arises.
I see. Well, as much as I'd like to keep chatting, we should probably get going lest we find whatever that thing is again. You know,
Yeah.
that monstrosity against nature.
Yeah, Titania kind of fists, grabs hold of your shirt and just says, like, "It was so scary back there, Void. There was this weird monster, and why weren't you there to protect me?"
Her voice goes out halfway through by accident. Totally had nothing to do with Emily.
Also, by the
Oh,
way,
no.
Oh wow.
your girlfriend was crying for you, so, you know.
She would be trying to now, but, she doesn't have a voice.
Wow, that's unfortunate. I don't know why that happened.
Truly. And is Marrow there, or is he just like face palming?
He is. It's interesting if anyone has spent a lot of time looking at him. He's doing his best to pretend that anything going on behind the muscles doesn't exist.
Huh.
Void just very dumbly asks, "I have a girlfriend?"
And you're treated
Ew.
to a very wonderfully mute blush fest.
And Jalem just points to, wow, I just had a massive brain fart right now. I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. Titania. Derp. And she's like, yeah, her. Now let's get going.
I just seem doubly confused now, both at this new information and also why she's not saying anything, because I probably don't put two and two together.
Yeah, and even she's kind of struggling to a bit as she's like, trying to force something out. It almost looks like it would be a baka or something, but she can't get it out.
And as like they're walking away, Jalem approaches Emily, and then just like gives her like a light fist bump motion.
Sometimes she talks too much. That's not my fault.
I know, but still, good job.
You guys make your way forward now, reunited as a group, and it'd be a nice, probably like trio of shots from behind your group. Kind of the water is starting to kind of recede at this point, so the path is widening as you go. So some more of you are side by side. There's a shot from behind you guys. It's like first shot, and then you're further away, second shot, and third shot, you're almost all the way down the tunnel, and a tail flickers across the camera. A very feline tail.
Oh no.
Do the muscles smell this?
It's downwind.
Oh. Alright. Well, let's keep going. Like, the sooner we find Echidna and punch them in the face.
You'll eventually find a couple more twists and turns down this way. You are definitely like well beneath the city at this point. Uh, and given how rough hewn some of the walls are starting to look, you wonder if this was even part of like the initial sewer plan for the city, or if this wasn't added on later. But you make your way through, and eventually you'll find another bulkhead type thing, but this one much larger than the previous ones, easily 10-12 feet tall and just as wide. Really heavy, probably going to need the muscles to open it for you.
Alright, you two, do your thing.
I just kind of look over at Muscle Fox and nod.
He'll
And
nod back.
We grab the doors and start pulling, or maybe pushing. However, we're supposed to open these doors.
Yeah, you just kind of work on unscrewing it sort of at first with that am I saying that wrong? Is that what a bulkhead is with like the wheel in the middle?
That's a form of one, I would say.
I just know them from Subnautica.
Yeah. The bulkhead is actually a structural part of the ship. It's like the framing. I know what that door you're talking about is.
I apologize for my lack of architectural knowledge.
Well, I don't know crap about ships either. What's that called? Ships.
I know there tends to
Why
be
am
a
I-
name for them in spaceships as well, and it's probably the same name.
I'm struggling for a name. Hatch? Bulkhead door? A bulkhead is a vertical partition. So, a bulkhead door, I believe, is the correct term.
Well, either way, you guys will sort of turn it and eventually open it, and it's a very loud, grating, groaning kind of metal noise as you push the door open, and immediately two things are going to hit you. As inside this bulkhead is just a large, open, sort of like football field length space carved out of rock. Two things. It's pitch dark in here. There's not a single light anywhere inside this giant chasm. Second thing is, it smells like rotting meat.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
Or is it tasty?
For Muscle Sheep, it might be tasty.
That is the question.
Ugh. God.
But you guys you have access to what you can only presume, because you can't see it, is Echidna's lab.
Can highlight, like,
Oh.
illuminate this?
I think Dan might have stepped away from the keyboard.
Oh.
Yeah, he said 1 sec water 19 minutes ago.
It's a far cry from 1 second.
Can
But about
I...
par for the course with him.
Can I then use my, like, cell phone flashlight then?
Sure, yeah. I mean, you don't need reception to do that. You can totally do so. You'll take out your flashlight. You'll start moving it around. Do you guys remember kind of the description of the like that central room in Young's lab? It was like a wheel, like this large round thing, and there was a tower in the middle of it.
Yes, actually. That was what we climbed up right before we met Young, right?
Correct, yeah. This room kind of mirrors that in a bit. I say room, it's really more like a cave kind of thing, just this large circular area. But in the center is a very out of place metal tower that looks like not unlike the one that Young had. But as you're moving your cell phone light around, Emily, you see that you're starting to reveal some of the details of the room, and then the eyes start reflecting back at you.
Yeah.
From the ceiling, as tall as it is, as you cast your light up to it, there's bats, hundreds, thousands, maybe even, of bats just clinging to the ceiling. Some of them have peacock feathers, some of them have toucan beaks, but they're all bats and they're all staring down at you.
What the fuck?
I usually don't mind bats, but this is a lot.
I don't mind the bats, but what the hell is Chimera been doing? Sheesh.
Perhaps at your words, then, more back central-ish. The lights of your, I'd say Highlight would have been trying to help you light this room up if he were here, but one of this the uniform carpet of bats in the ceiling, sort of towards the back of the large empty space, that carpet bulges and becomes larger as a much bigger bat-like figure sort of disentangles itself and cackles in a very human voice and says, "Did my sons come back to me?"
I think we have the wrong house.
Just close the door.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong door.
It's time to go, I think.
Sorry, you're breaking up. Weak signal. I'm driving through a tunnel. Talk to you later.
The chattering of the bats increases as they're growing excited, it seems like, as the figure detaches from the ceiling and starts to flutter, float, or just fall. It's hard to tell, down towards the ground and towards you guys.
Oh, God's sake.
So if you actually want to close the door and run, this would be the time to do it.
Yep. Like, close it, close it, close it.
None of us have stepped in yet, right?
Closing it.
And not really, no, you guys just kind of like in the entryway type of sorta.
Closing it.
Fox just kind of nods along with you, and you two like start to pull the door shut. Again, creaking back into. It slams. The locks re-engage. You hear the chattering grow louder and louder, and then finally, as you secure it back into place, it's quiet for a brief moment.
Everyone step away slowly.
Can I put my ear up against the door to try and listen in?
Yeah, make me a. You can either do assess if you just want to kind of ask me some questions, or if you really want to strain the super hearing, it would be a freak roll.
Let's go with. Let's go ahead and strain the hearing just in case. No, you know what? Just regular assess the situation.
Alrighty.
I think that fits better. Ouch.
Well, you can mark your potential, but unfortunately, as you put your ear to the door, the thick metal is doing its job, and you can't really hear through it.
Muscles Jeep hears nothing. I think we lost them.
I'd imagine you all are kind of retreating from the door, like just stepping backwards a few paces at a time, right?
At some point, Void is going to have an idea, and just for the memes of it, get super close to Emily and lean in and whisper super quietly in her ear. I believe they probably have exceptional hearing, so being prepared to create a high-pitched noise might help us if this comes to a battle.
You know, we should have actually brought Titania along then. I'm kidding, but yeah, that's a good point.
Wait, high-pitched noises, she raises the dog whistle. This might not be the same frequency, but will this work?
Potentially.
Won't that hurt Sheeb's ears though? Or does that not
Yeah.
hurt them?
I'm not sure. I know it attracts them, but I don't know if it'll hurt him.
So just using it normally wouldn't hurt him. I was to understand you're talking about like using Emily's powers to base boost it. That would start to hurt them, yeah. That would start to hurt you guys a little bit.
Yeah, let's not hurt the dog. He's been a good
even
boy.
though you wouldn't be able to hear it, you would still feel the vibrations. And
Yeah. Like,
That's
let's
true.
not hurt Sheeb then, because he's been a good boy. I'm open to ideas.
This is a dumb question, but does the door have like a keyhole or anything to it?
It does not, from what you
Darn.
can tell.
So I was thinking I could whistle through it and that would eliminate a little bit of the noise to us. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, totally. There's not really a keyhole, but something might occur which might shake up this conversation a bit. So, as you guys were taking your steps back away from the door frame, speaking of Miss Shrill Voice, Titania was in the back, the furthest away, more rapidly retreating, until she bumps into something furry behind her and squeaks. Or she would if she still had her voice.
I probably gave it back to her at this point.
So you hear a squeak as the panel would show Titania looking up, very wide-eyed into the black, furry, muscular chest of a cat man.
What?
I believe that at this point, she just kind of turns around. And maybe Muscle Fox is already standing there, like tense. But she turns around and he immediately tenses up and his hackles go up.
Ah, you did not like Mother then, I see, brothers.
Who is
are
Mother?
you?
He spreads his arms wide and just kind of like flexes his abs, which push Titania off and away as he just spreads his arms and looks at you and says, "Come now, surely you recognize your youngest brother, Cataclysm."
What?
Muscle Sheep has no memory.
Also, that's a stupid name.
Muscle Sheep is going to very slowly and calmly walk towards this giant cat, probably standing about 2 feet away, just staring in silence for like a minute. And then he's just going to start flexing his muscles.
It's an interesting dichotomy a bit, because Fox is a bit taller and wider than you, Sheeb. Cat, while being still like definitely really, really strong and all, and he's a buff boy as well, he's shorter than you by quite a good bit, so you do dwarf him a little. But yeah, Fox will also come up beside you, kind of cock an eyebrow at what you're doing, but then like get into the dynamic posing along with you. And then Cat will just shake his head and start doing the Terry Crews peck flexing thing one at a time.
What?
And I will
the-
change poses and flex different muscles.
Jemima will just turn to Emily. What the fuck? Missed something?
Let's see. Muscle Sheep, why don't you roll to provoke or
Well,
Cataclysm?
I'm not trying to provoke him, but alright. He probably doesn't. It probably looks like I am to him, though, so. Gosh, dang it.
Wow, it's a consistent roll anyway. Wow, you flex, and even with the help of your more aligned brother flexing beside you, you get the impression that Cataclysm is not overly impressed with your musculature.
But is he still, like, flexing back at
Oh, totally. He's doing his best, but despite being smaller of frame than you, he has better range of motion with his muscles.
I am jealous. I imagine we've been flexing for about a minute. And then Muscle Sheep will relax and extend his paw, like for a handshake. He says, "It is good to meet you, Cataclysm. Hello, I am Sheep."
He will extend his hand and clasp it against yours, dark fur versus the blonde of the sheep, and shake it once, and then tighten. The muscles of his arm bulge, and then you guys all watch as their arms still rigid. Muscle Sheep just lifts an inch off the ground, and then 2 inches, and then Cat just throws him behind them.
Oh no.
As you crumple into the wall behind. There's like lots of bricks that fall, and a nice loud noise. And those of you near the door hear the bats chitter more actively, and
Are they chittering or laughing?
hard to tell.
So we just watch him go sailing.
That's not good.
That seemed completely unnecessary.
Cataclysm turns and looks at you all. How rude to ignore Mother when she is speaking to you. Now open the door.
Nah.
Can Jalim sense any plant life nearby?
Well, how do I say this? It's going to be hard for you to find anything in bloom down here. There's
Mhm.
probably some algae and fungus in the water because it's grody like that. There might be some seeds in the soil somewhere, but nothing's bloom.
But is it like enough that she can command its like sentience in a way?
It's going to be hard. You'll have to roll pretty well on unleash your powers.
Because if that's the case, then she is going to. Julem will say, like, we said no the first time. What makes you think we're gonna say yes? Honestly, you don't think. Like, she's trying to provoke him. Like, I thought cats were the smart ones.
Okay, well, you can roll that. What are the rest of you doing? Dan, to catch you up a bit. You are here, right, Dan?
Yes.
Okay. You guys reunited with Void Spawn. You found a very large bulkhead, which led into what you can only imagine as Echidna's lab. It was covered. It was a dark cave covered in the ceiling with bats, including one very large bat that spoke, or what looked like a bat that spoke to you like a human and called itself the Mother of Sheep. And you guys closed the door and left.
Sounds about right.
Right. But so, other than provoking, were any of the rest of you trying to do something in response to this tossing?
Picking myself out of the rubble.
Yeah, like, is he okay?
Yeah. Humiliated a bit, and maybe if you don't have insecure marked, do you?
Uh, I don't have any conditions right now.
I would say you might need to mark insecure. M- m-
I will definitely mark insecure after that incident.
gonna say more for the shame than like physical pain, but something got hurt. It might have been your ego.
Well, since we were just talking about this earlier, I suppose Void will go to help Muscle Sheep back to his feet, and at the same time go ahead and copy his physical strength.
Okay. And now, to be clear, that's one of your base powers, or is that one of like the extra ones you can do with roll?
That is one of the base powers.
Okay, so no issue. Then you're able to uh, imbue yourself with some of Muscle Sheep's vaunted strength. You don't visibly Hulk out or anything, but you feel strong.
Just ready myself for whatever comes next. See who makes the first move.
Alright, so Jilim, you got a partial hit there. So on a 7 to 9, they can. Okay, on a 7 to 9, they can either stumble, uh, they err, or overreact. So I'm gonna definitely say overreact. So what were you specifically trying to goad him into doing?
Like to ignore sheep for a bit. And it's like, yeah, I thought the cats were supposed to be the smart ones. You're not really doing your species justice, you know that, right? And internally, come on, take the bait.
Oh, they take it. Cat just looks at you and does you hear the light like caterwauling kind of build up in his throat. He dusts his hands off, brings his arms down around his stomach and flexes his shoulders. And as all of you watch, the frame of Cataclysm gets bigger, 10%, 20%, and now he's as tall as Sheeb. 30%, 40%, now he's as tall as Fox. And then he looks at you and brings a fist towards Jaloon.
Internally, it goes grayscale, and then it just says, "It was at this moment Jillim knew she fucked up."
Can I try to
So-
defend her?
Absolutely, you can, if you will make that roll for me and tell me how you do so.
Well, I just got that shield, so I figure I can try and put it in front of her.
Okay, and you do have influence over Jalim, right?
Do I?
I
yes.
think you do.
So that's a roll of Savior plus 1 for having influence over them.
So I just put 1 in the little box.
I think so.
Okay. Nice.
Wow, not bad, yeah. So, Jalim, to your grayscale image, what you saw is a very large muscular hand coming to drive you into the ground like a tent post into the
Mhm.
dirt. A shield of light appears even before you can react, and it seems to definitely sting the eyes of Cataclysm. just barely missing you as the ground, like immediately to your right, just dents and caves in as his fist connects to it.
Hmm. And Chilem just like looks up like, huh. Well then.
I probably moved without realizing it. Like, oh wow, was I actually helpful? What's that?
Give me 1 second. Cat's being a bit graunchy.
Oh no, is it hulking out on you?
He wants to too become powerful.
He grew 10, 20, 30% more bitey.
He knows when we play D&D and stuff, and I think he gets like bored of the inattention. He gets bitey. Without fail, every time we play D&D or something
Ooh.
similar.
He was in my lap and he just decided he wasn't enjoying it anymore.
Typical cat.
Very fitting though. Okay, Sheep, you were able to pick yourself up off the ground with the help of your alien companion.
And it attacked one of my teammates already.
It did.
Catastrophe. So Sheep is going to, kind of pull himself out and say, much anger. And he's going to begin walking towards Catastrophe with the intent to do physical harm.
Oh, you're approaching me?
I can't beat the crap out of you without getting closer.
Oh my god.
You all are treated to that scene as striking a humanly unrealistic pose. Muscle Sheep begins to approach Cat. Muscle Fox opposite is also approaching, kind of this pincer type move, whereas Cat just turns to sort of receive them both, hands outstretched. It is at that moment that the door that I bet you Emily and probably Highlight still are closest to creaks open again from the other side. It can apparently swing both ways. A black beak pokes its way out from the sliver of a crack and begins to chatter in a low and raspy voice. Are you kids fighting already? It's not time yet. Come in for tea.
What?
Do we recognize it?
Well, it's a similar voice to what you guys just heard when you opened the door the first time.
Does Lim recognize the voice at all from her time at?
No.
Okay, good.
Echidna was so how to say that? Young wasn't as involved in day-to-day stuff as Belladonna was. She was the go-getter, but Echidna was a hermit. She lived down here and like never came out.
Wow.
That's...
Cat freezes and just looks was like goadingly at you, Sheep and Fox, kind of alternating between.
Seeing Muscle Cat just kind of Catastrophe just kind of stop. I'm gonna kind of look around and looking at Thing. Let's call this her children. just kind of look at her back to Catastrophe, and then Muscle Sheep's going to be like, but he started it.
Do not worry, before this day is done, only one of you will remain. But the time is not yet.
Oh, that's concerning.
The door opens, creaking a little bit further, and the head sticks more so out of the crack. You see a yellow raincoat hood that's dingy and really dirty. Half the face is normal with a beady black eye and a wrinkled face, but there's that large black beak that takes up the nose and mouth region.
Void just approaches and says, "Well, since you haven't attacked us outright yet, I don't suppose you would be willing to just let us destroy the tower and be on our way."
And cocks her head a little bit, and the beak opens and closes a couple of times, chittering, and you hear the bats behind her chitter in response. Favors like that are not given without recompense, child.
Well, we are prepared to fight if need be. I was hoping perhaps if you were given to negotiation, we could avoid combat.
Spilling your blood, alien, or the blood of the humans beside you, does not interest me. I only wish to see the completion of my project this day. Do not interfere with it.
Goal overall.
What is your project?
Fools, do you not see? Look at the three of them. Aren't they glorious? Now imagine if there was but one with all three's powers combined.
Oh, like a chimera.
That's her name.
A hand extends out from the door and clacks against it, and it definitely clacks because those aren't fingers. They're not even humans. They're talons like a bird's as they clatter against the metal.
It's gonna be a muscle bird, isn't it?
Oh, please no.
Are you coming inside? Are you going to keep an old lady waiting all day?
Jalem looks very unnerved. Well? And she turns to everyone else. I mean, I guess Mom wants to see you, I think. Internally, she's going, what the hell did I get myself into now?
She does not understand. That is not my move.
Cat has not taken his eyes off of flittering between his two brothers, but Fox looks very, very rigid and stiff, and he's not looking at Cat, he's looking at you, Sheep, as he just mutters, I told you, brother, time was short. I have a way of knowing these things. You should have fought me.
She's just gonna be like confused.
Emily, Void, Highlight, what is your reaction?
Unnerved?
I'm scared
Yeah?
and intrigued.
pretty much the same. Maybe, like, kind of in a sense where they could bolt again if she needed to, because the big bird lady's probably gonna be scary.
Like, what's gonna pop out next? A giraffe? Like, what other animals are we gonna see down here?
I mean, you're
Void
already down
just
here.
turns to Sheeb and says, "Are you willing to participate in this?"
I think Sheep's gonna be like, Muscle Sheep does not want to, but Muscle Sheep will protect his friends.
Well, we will fight by your side if you do not wish to harm Muscle Fox.
Sheep does not wish to harm Muscle Fox or Catastrophe. Both are his brothers.
Fox nods, but immediately there's a snort from Cat as he just starts to guffaw.
What's your problem?
Silly human. We were made to fight. How quickly does a shoe decide it no longer wishes to walk?
When it breaks,
Or when it tears?
Then break you and tear you I will with pleasure.
I don't like
No,
you
you.
anymore.
No, you.
Jalem just like looks to Ken like, I don't like you anymore.
Were it not for your flashy friend, you would not like the smear you would be.
Hmm.
From the sounds of it, though, you guys were going to enter the room and cautiously.
So
Very cautiously.
I'm going to message you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Keep going. It's just a thought that I had.
Echidna opens the door fully and allows you guys to follow back in. How do I say? She claps her hands, and several of the bats up ahead, still clinging to the ceiling, respond and then begin to glow because their bottom halves are that of grossly oversized fireflies. And suddenly, there's light in the cavern, revealing a bunch of very empty space and probably bat droppings and just things that aren't very pleasant.
That's disgusting.
As we're walking in, just because it gives me a chuckle to imagine this, Void, knowing that he has, at least for the time being, a boost to his physical strength, will go to crack his knuckles, like doing the fist inside the open palm version of it. Except because he doesn't actually have bone structure, it doesn't make any noise whatsoever.
Nice.
He just like looks confused, like, I've seen other people do this and it makes a cool noise.
And Jalem was like, you need bones for that.
I see. Then he like looks at Marrow, thinking I could borrow his power, but then decides not to.
Yeah, Mara just kind of shakes his head at you, like clippily, and points to some of the really nasty bruises and stuff he still has along his skin.
Valid.
You guys enter, and as I said, there's really not a lot in this cave besides animals in that tower. But you are revealed now in the light to see the full form of your host this evening. There is a lab coat on under that, you think. It's really dirty and torn, but she's mostly covered by, like I said, a yellow raincoat, which has still seen better days. Um, her face, as I described, part normal, part beak. The other eye, revealed now, is serpentine and covered not by skin on all sides, but by green scales that blend unequally into her face. Both of her hands are claw like. There's a tail that swishes down from the hem of the coat, and both of her feet are cloven hooves like that of goats.
God, April O'Neil, what did you do to yourself?
Even as you guys watch, as she leads you further into the room, there's some not mixed up animals in here, some regular bats flying about. She snatches one out of the air, lightning quick, and picks up a beetle from the ground. And as you guys watch, she just kind of like mushes them together in her hands, and they mold like Play Doh. And what flies out is a weird armored bat beetle hybrid as it just flies up to join its brothers at the top.
Um, that's not creepy. Although Julem does start thinking about what this could possibly be.
Oh, at least one of your group is pretty familiar with weird power.
In fact, I was just using such powers to help develop the preventative medicine from Dr. Young.
So, wait. Is that like a form... Like, Julem is actually just mumbling to herself, like, what is that? Like, that doesn't look like any form of power I've seen.
You hear a wheezy kind of giggle as Echidna just laughs. Eventually, oh, sorry.
Like, she, like, reacts a bit, like she jumps.
Void just taking on his scholar of powers persona says, although exceptionally rare, there have been noted cases of the ability to manipulate the genetic code of others.
So you're saying that's just a power anyone can have?
In like I said, exceptionally rare cases, but there are known documented cases.
Okay.
You are led further into the cave where you're standing, like kind of before the tower now. As Echidna turns and clop clop, her hooves kind of clacking on the wood as she faces you. Wood, sorry, the stone. As she faces you and kind of rubs her claws together and says, "Now, let's say I allow you kids to do what you want with this monstrosity they've placed in my cave. I might allow it. If you have my son, or allow my sons to have their fight here and now."
Isn't
What?
it up to Muscle Sheeb?
Sheep
Yeah,
has
that's
a
up.
question. He's like raising his hand.
She bobs her head and just looks at you like, "Yes, what is it, slow one?"
Hold on 2 seconds, because I legitimately forgot the question I was going to ask. Oh, yes. Okay. He says, "Why must sheep fight?"
How else am I to?
You cut out.
You're not picking
Hello?
up, babe.
Maybe his Discord died again.
Whoop.
We lost him.
Am I picking up?
Or their power went out.
Am I not picking up?
Good, my water bottle's doing the squeaky.
When you try your best and you don't succeed. Where are you like this, Discord?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you,
We
Discord.
exist. Is this the true timeline?
I think so.
We can hope.
Timeline divergence is less than 0.1%.
Okay. Well, I apologize. Her answer to your question was how else could she tell which of you was stronger?
By using tests that aren't designed to kill?
I mean, we could arm wrestle, or chase squirrels, or lift weights, or have a jumping contest, or a running contest.
Still, you do not understand. You were designed to be the best of my creation. As you fight, you get stronger. You learn from each other. You absorb each other.
What?
Absorb? She does
I
not understand.
have already done the work, dog. Whoever wins will become the leader of the chimera that will result.
Well, if fighting each other and fighting others is what enables them to become stronger, would it not be counterintuitive to have them ever face each other in combat to the death? They could continue to grow stronger and fight battles against each other in the future and become stronger still.
You misunderstand. They will not die. As one falls, he will become part of the victor.
It's still messed up.
Muscle Sheep can put two and two together. Much like you have done to Muscle Sheep.
That gets her to giggle.
Yeah, when Muscle Sheep says, I can put two and two together, Void immediately looks to Jalem and just kind of indicates, don't say it, I know what you're thinking.
Well,
What?
what say you, alien and friends? Allow me to create my Cerberus, and the tower is yours.
That's gonna be a no on that.
This Muscle Sheep has already said he does not wish to absorb Muscle Fox.
Muscle Sheep does not wish to fight. But Muscle Sheep has learned that there are many times he just flexes his muscles where he has to do things he doesn't want to do.
Fox nods, and you all hear his booming laughter as he says, "So this is your choice, brother. Let it be so." He flexes multiple different poses, becoming smaller and smaller with each one. as he shrinks and compresses and then floats in the air, only be picked up by you, Sheeb, as you hold in your hands a katana.
Muscle Sheep
Why?
understands. Muscle
And,
Fox was not sharpening his sword. Muscle Fox is sword. I'm going to instead hold it in my hand. I'm going to put it in my mouth.
Oh, that's cute.
And this children's just going, wait, what? What? Like, she has that whole calculated stare of confusion going on. Like, all sorts of formulas zipping past her head.
I don't
You
think
are-
anyone here gets it.
There's abject confusion on everybody's face, except for Muscle Sheep, who is staring ahead determinedly. Cat is only growing larger now, becoming far bigger than any bipedal creature ought to be as he's swelling. Echidna is retreating further back, cackling, and there'd be that full panel art of sort of this battle lines being drawn as the combat in Echidna's lab is about to begin. But that's where we'll end tonight's session.
All right, when the going was about to get good.